Eric, were you going to do something with the cold open about the moon landing? Do we have anything fun for the cold open?
Well, now this is the cold open.
Ah, shucks. Okay.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but the shucks helped.
Ah, shucks.
Welcome to The Cabin. This is episode 79. I'm Eric Paulson.
I'm Audio Dave.
And I'm Susan Foch, and I'm excited because I get to introduce our guest today.
Yes.
I don't think it's a secret at all that the cabin loves the Driftless area. And growing up, I'm going to out myself really hard. I've never been to the Driftless.
Apparently, you've just driven through quickly once or twice.
I drove through it literally once. So in order to do this topic properly, I thought that we should bring someone on who actually has grown up and lived in the Driftless area so that we could craft a weekend getaway in what I consider to be a hidden gem. I don't know if other people consider it a hidden gem. Thank you, Audio Dave.
Our job is to make it not so hidden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. So I'm here to learn just as much as our listeners. So we're bringing on Tara Pizer. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hello, Tara.
We're excited. All right. Well, before we can get into our planning a weekend in the Driftless, let's...
Now you said driftless.
Ah,
you know it's
man.
driftless, right?
I just, I'm having a rough day, Dave, okay? I know it's Driftless.
She's drifting, Dave.
As long as we don't go into the intro calling it driftless.
I'm so sorry. All right. Oh.
The Cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association. This week we're featuring Dane County, the western portion of which begins the Driftless. Yes. Of course, it's the county that holds our state capital in Madison.
Mm-hmm.
Stomping grounds for Discover Media Works. This is where our production facility main headquarters is. And 3 of the 4 people here in the cabin today. Dane County is named after not the Great Dane Brewery. Did you know that?
Weird.
Wow.
It's a shocker. It was named after Nathan Dane, a Massachusetts delegate to the Congress of the Confederation, who helped carve Wisconsin out of the Northwest Territory. So he was instrumental in helping us exist. Dane County Farmers Market, which is right on the Capitol Square, is the largest producer-only market in the U.S. If you have not been,
You got to go.
need to go. It is so worth the trip. You can find some great stuff. And the world's largest Brat Fest. That's a Wisconsin thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Is in Madison. It's held yearly Memorial Day weekend. Over 4 million brats have been sold at the festival since 1983.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot to handle. Yeah.
Tis it is.
It is. And the cabin is also presented by Jolly Good Soda.
Perfect for washing down brats.
Cheers, friends. Perfect. Jolly Good is available in 6-packs in select flavors and festival foods and coming soon. Actually, I don't know if it's still coming soon. It might be in Woodman's and Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah.
They also have, again, if you are watching on YouTube, you can see Eric and I drinking the diet line, which is caffeine-free with 0 calories, 0 carbs, and 0 sugars, which is exactly how we like especially our summer drinks, right? They're light. They're cool. We enjoy it.
0 regrets.
0 regrets. 0 calories means 0 regrets. And make sure that you stay up to date on their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts by following at Jolly Good Soda for all of their fun promos.
All right. So
Feel that, Tara?
Yeah,
Do you feel the fire?
Feel the warmth?
super hot.
Super toasty.
So, as Susan said, from fishing to camping to swimming to hiking to kayaking to architecture to just general exploring, we all love the Driftless region, except for Susan.
Okay.
She'll get-
I'm learning.
she'll get there.
I'm here to learn.
Eventually.
Today we're talking about hidden gem stops within the Driftless and how people can really craft a stellar weekend getaway in this stretch of the state. So, Tara, to kick things off, since you are our expert, what is your favorite thing about the region, having grown up there, and where is the first place that you would take someone who's never been there before, and why are both answers Blanchardville?
So that would not be my answers.
It is
Dave's
Dave's
going
answer,
for mayor.
though. He would love to be mayor of Blanchardville.
Well, that is good to know. No, I think my favorite thing about growing up there, and I totally took it for granted when I did live there, is just the beauty of it because, I mean, it's all these rolling hills, and by hills, I don't mean these little hills. They're like mini mountains and big cliffs and bluffs, and it's so beautiful, especially in the fall with all the colors. Highly recommend a fall trip. But my favorite, or the place I would take somebody, it's hard just because there is so much to do there. It is such a big area. But if someone was willing to get in a canoe, or a kayak, but I think canoeing is preferable on the Wisconsin River, I'd go down that through Grant County, a little bit into Richland, or start in Richland, go down to Grant, however it works. But it's just beautiful to really see the area from the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it in like around Muscadet or something like
Yeah,
that.
somewhere in there and drift down.
And that's true. And it's a very flat river at that spot. It's not like there's waterfalls. There's sandbars you can park along and
Yeah, you just enjoy it. And some people camp on the sandbars. I don't think that's very safe. But you can at least stop for a little bit and hang out.
It's probably safer in terms of bears or wildlife. No, bears can swim.
I was going to say
Bears can
bears,
swim.
no.
Yep.
No, and you got to,
I retract that.
yeah, if you're in a sleeping bag, bears just look at you as a soft taco.
Yeah.
I don't know.
not-
Did Teddy the bear know how to swim? Is that how he got to join us here today?
We did not know each other in his past life, so
Thank you for that answer, Audio Dave. All right. Okay, so your first vote is going to be canoeing on the Wisconsin River. Eric, where would you take someone for their first time in the Driftless? And I'm thinking of me. Where would you take me for the first time?
Are you into architecture?
You know I love architecture.
Then I would take you to Taliesin
Okay.
and then House on the Rock, which is just a couple miles south on 23 in and around Spring Green. You can also enjoy the Wisconsin River there, and there's some cool places to eat and drink in Spring Green. So a nice day in Spring Green would be my recommendation.
We love
Tower
that.
Hill State Park is right there too, which is a really cool place with a shot tower in it and stuff. So
Yeah, we love that. Audio Dave, any fun spots?
does it
well,
rhyme?
there's a
Does
little-
it rhyme with Blanchardville?
there's a little town called Blanchardville.
For any like new listeners, any like fun new fans we've gotten.
Yeah, that's a pretty deep cut at this point.
Yeah,
I
you
think
haven't
it was,
talked about it much lately.
Episode 10 or something, we talked about our favorite small towns in Wisconsin, and this is one that I have fallen in love with in the past couple of years just because we started camping at Yellowstone Lake a few times every summer, and it's just this beautiful little small town. It's just so cute. It reminds me of a little mountain town with a little creek running through it. That's definitely where I'm going to end up at some point in my life.
One day.
Gotta end up in Blanchardville.
When you're mayor of Blanchardville?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Understood.
When they just decide to give me the key to the city. Whichever happens
It's really
first.
the key to the
Perfect.
village. There's about 700-800 people
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Blanchardville, but it is a lovely town. Right along 78, you'll find it.
Yeah, and then right near there is Yellowstone Lake Campground, State Park, actually, which is one of the few lakes in that area, and it's just beautiful camping, good times.
Nice.
And, Tara, that is one feature. Wisconsin's known so much for lakes,
Right.
but the Driftless region, almost, there's only a few lakes in
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
region.
I know. It's a lot of little creeks and rivers and streams and
Coulees.
Yep.
It just the landscape does not permit large lakes because
No.
you're off the side of a cliff.
If you see a lake, it's usually just, a flooded valley or something.
Yeah, but the Wisconsin River is kind of like I think the biggest thing for that region, right? No.
I mean, as far as rivers, yeah,
Okay,
but
yeah.
you also have the Mississippi goes through the Driftless because the
Oh, right,
Driftless
right.
also goes into Minnesota and Iowa. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a little corner of Illinois it hits too.
Yeah.
The whole Driftless region, I think Wisconsin's about 70% of the total region. And the whole reason we have the Driftless region is because when the glaciers came in, flattened most of this Midwest, created the Great Lakes, created all the lakes in the rest of the state. It went around the Driftless region. I don't know why. There might have been a keep right sign or something at the front, but the glaciers just went around
Watching out
it.
for deer.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe it was watching out. Very good. That's true. And so, we're really lucky to have this unique piece of topography, largely in our state.
Yeah,
which-
so it
which
didn't
is-
deposit all of the glacial deposits. It
Right.
just left that nice limestone and sandstone.
And the boundary of it's pretty easy to spot. The Driftless area is just basically if you're on I-94 and I-90 between Madison and Toma,
Thank you.
to your west is the Driftless area and to your right is not. It's
Yeah.
and that's the reason they routed the interstate there. It's because they didn't want to get it into the too much rugged stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know where it starts and ends.
That also sounds like I could use a glass of wine, and I'm only doing that because you have also purchased a lot of El Maro.
Yes, I keep telling her she needs to go there, but
I
she
know.
doesn't listen.
It's not that I don't listen. I don't have a lot of free time.
No.
But that I think is your favorite vineyard.
I think it's, yes. And
Yeah.
forever. Like, it's not even Wisconsin.
Just in
They
general.
give you samples, they have food, but the venue is beautiful. I know they have weddings there too, but you feel like you're in Napa Valley kind of. It's in the middle of nowhere in Trempealeau, Wisconsin. You're just kind of in these fields and you're overlooking the vineyards, but they have yoga, they have live music, they have amazing wine. But yeah.
Is it yoga and wine? Sounds like a delightful combination. So, and it's, did I say it right? El Maro?
Yep.
El Maro. Yeah.
I can second that. I was there in August.
I know,
late
it's the
August
best.
last year. And I show friends in California and other places pictures of this winery, and they're like, that's not in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But you would swear. And just over those hills that are just in the distance past the vineyards is the Mississippi River. And it is just, and it was also like the ideal. It was sunny and 82, low humidity. It was just the perfect day.
Yeah.
And when you're at that winery, you're like, this is the pinnacle of the winery experience.
Nice.
It is one of my favorites. It's just off the Great River Road, too. I mean, it's easy to get to.
It's a beautiful drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to check that one out as well.
Yeah. Any other fun like wineries, breweries,
I only have
restaurants we got
50
to
or
hit?
60 on a list here.
Yeah.
But,
This is a short list.
and
so
you know what's funny
clearly.
is I didn't add El Mara. I should have added El Mara
Yeah.
Winery.
I looked and I was like, he didn't add it.
On
I
my
have to
list,
put my
which-
favorite one down.
I was so busy making sure I got the other ones in
Yeah.
that I forgot. Now, Baraboo is kind of on the border of the Driftless area. In fact, the Baraboo Range, which is a pretty significant hill near there, that kind of marks, that's why the Wisconsin River kind of dodges east and then comes back west. It has to go around that. And you get a beautiful view of those hills and more at Balanced Rock Winery, which is named after one of the rocks in Devil's Lake State Park. Really cool place with a nice patio. Also, if you're down near Richland County, well, in Richland County, a little bit north of Muscadet, there was a place called Weggy Winery, which I
Yes.
loved the name, but they changed the name.
They did.
And now it's called Wild Hills. Have you been there?
I have not been there since the change.
Okay.
So I will have to try it out, go check it out, see if there's anything new.
I definitely will have to do the same. Now, near that, off of Q&80, northwest of Highland, and this is like dead center Driftless area. It's beautiful. The Spurgeon Vineyards and Winery, not to be confused with Sturgeon. Spurgeon, a lot of people I know, they say it's their favorite place. If you want something kind of right off a major highway, just off of 18 and 151 near Barneveld on that drive between Madison and Dubuque, the Botham Vineyards and Winery. It's right there, right near the hill, the Blue Mound Hill, which is the tallest point in southern Wisconsin. So if you go to Blue Mound State Park or check out Mount Horeb, a trip to Botham is really nice.
Is it Botham or Botham? Because remember how Gotham is?
Yes, Gotham, Wisconsin is pronounced Gotham, and I was wondering about that myself.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go with the long O on this one.
All right.
And if I'm wrong, Botham Winery can correct me.
Yep.
But if you say it confidently enough, people will believe anything
That's
that you
right.
say.
That's right.
Yep.
In New Glarus, there's a wonderful winery too, which kind of has similar tumbling, rolling hill views, and that's Bailey's Run.
I love that place.
So you've been there.
I've been there.
They have really good food. They just got in a big oven for pizzas.
Yeah, we went there for my birthday and sat outside, and they had great food.
Nice.
And they have a dog, Bailey, that walks around and looks for attention and is very polite and quiet and really cute. And, and their wines really are fantastic. And they do offer beer and other beverages for those not inclined for wine. Down, probably one of the more southernmost wineries in the state is Hawks Mill. And that's in Browntown, which is just off Highway 11. That's kind of the southern end of the Driftless area, which is on the drive west of Monroe on 11, which is a cool one to check out. Really beautiful one outside La Crosse, it's closer to Westby, along US 14 and 61 is the Branches Winery, which anybody else been to Branches Winery? I still have 2 bottles at home that we bought from there. Great place. And you're nestled in those beautiful hills. I have special memories because I was taking a picture with my girlfriend and all these people were waving in the background. They knew me from the show.
Oh, that's cute.
And a couple of them had quite a few wines and were like, hey, this is a Wisconsin guy. Hey, Mildred, check it out.
Hey, Mildred, I would have paid money to see that.
It's funny. I have not been to this one yet, but several comments I've gotten from people. They say it's one of their favorite wineries because it's so little and adorable. It's in Genoa, right off the Great River Road and Highway 56. It's called the Riverview Vineyard. I don't know if for a fact you get a view of the Mississippi River from there, but you should. That's definitely one to check out. A little down the Great River Road east of Ferryville, the Sugar Creek Winery. And then in Potosi, which will also have a brewery I'll talk about in a minute, the Whispering Bluffs Winery. I don't know if the bluffs actually whisper, but depending on what they say, you may have had too many.
Maybe.
I don't know. Shall I continue on the breweries for now?
I was going to say, Tara, do you have anything else from one of those lists that you want to mention?
Wineries or breweries?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like that was a pretty good list. I can't think of any more.
I did great research, except for El Maro,
I know,
which is one of my favorites.
All right. Yeah, then, let's do breweries and then some restaurants, places to eat.
We'll stay in Potosi because a classic place, the Potosi Brewery, is in there. They were around in the 1800s into the early to mid-1900s. They were a classic. Shut down in 1972, but in 2008, they reopened. They rehabbed their original building, added a restaurant, added event space, and they added, this is important, y'all. See, I didn't say you guys, I said y'all. The National Brewery Museum is there. And when the museum was looking for a place to locate, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, and St. Louis, all big German and brewery towns, all vied for it, and Potosi is the one that got it.
Wow.
Interesting.
Didn't know that.
It was a huge get for them. And the restaurant's really good. And they make good beers. The classic good old Potosi and Snake Hollow, their Cave Ale. I mean, just all these beers.
Tangerine
and the tour
IPA.
is great. Yes, the Tangerine IPA is excellent. And the winery and the brewery are right across from each other on 133, which is also supposedly the world's longest main street without an intersection.
Sounds like you really believe that.
What a claim to fame.
I know. It's like a mile or two. I'm like, the world, well, we'll see. But it's a beautiful town because it's in the Driftless area. Other great breweries there. Hillsboro has a terrific one.
Yes, they do.
And they just moved into a big new building.
I have not been inside it. I have passed it going through Hillsboro.
It's
and
impressive.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
So
Had you been in their previous?
No.
The little tap room?
No.
They were right in the heart of downtown. But they've done so well. And their Leaping Lemur Cream Ale, if you've not had that.
A leaping lemur?
Leaping Lemur.
All righty then.
They're getting creative with the names.
Open up a new tab.
And then, and Kylie, who works here, she chimed in saying they have the best stinging honey garlic wings. They do have food, and it's very good there.
Yes, Carly did go through this list earlier today.
Added
and
a
gave me
couple
her
notes, I see.
Yeah.
That's nice. Down in Soldiers Grove, which is along US 61, the Highway 61 revisited that Bob Dylan sang about, is the Driftless Brewing Company. So you've got a brewery named after the Driftless area.
And there's a distillery too.
Oh, did they just open a distillery?
In Baraboo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll mention that one a little bit later. But the Driftless Brewing Company, good little place to visit. They're big on solar power in Soldiers Grove. There's a whole history with that. And the town actually had to relocate because of flooding. It's a fascinating history in that little town. And that's one note about the Driftless area. They'll get flash floods.
Oh, yeah. We get floods.
And it's just, they roar down from these hills if the rains are really, really heavy. So there's a lot of stories
Sounds really aggressive
about that.
for town history.
It is, but that's exciting. Also, Mount Horeb, and I was talking about Botham or Botham Winery nearby. In Mount Horeb itself, great brewery called the Grumpy Troll off the Military Ridge Trail. It's right by the Trollway in Mount Horeb. Kylie says they have the best giant pretzel in the world.
She was telling me it was the literal best pretzel. She still dreams about this pretzel at the Grumpy Troll, to which, what a ringing endorsement for a pretzel. Yeah.
I've had their pizzas. I've never tried their pretzel. I got,
then you're missing out.
we all have to get back on a carb kick and do that. They have a lot of great beers too. And their sampler, I did a flight and it was like 15 beer samples in there. It was crazy. Nice. Also in Mineral Point, which is also in the heart of the Driftless area, a potential Wisconsin state capital back in the day. Beautiful town. Commerce Street Brewery and Hotel. They have like a couple of little B&B hotel rooms up there, which are great. And then we'll go along the Great River Road for two more cities. La Crosse, which has three great breweries, Pearl Street, Turtle Stack, and 608 Brewery, named after the area code of the Driftless area. And Fountain City Brewery, which is a classic one that was resurrected. It dates back to the 19th century in the Monarch Public House. Fountain City Brewing in Fountain City, also along Highway 35. So that's my breweries list.
Yes, the Fountain City, the Monarch, I've been there. It's a really cool place, really neat atmosphere.
Very historic.
I feel like we left a really major one off that list.
Are you talking Baraboo?
New Glarus.
Thank
Oh, okay.
you. That's where I was
New
going.
Glarus Brewery.
Spotted.
You know, I'd covered New Glarus with Bailey's Run Winery.
Yeah.
And
But
I
New
was like,
Glarus beer, I feel like, is again. I don't know anything about the Driftless, but I know about New Glarus.
Oh, you know, it's on my list, and I accidentally skipped it because I was reading Kylie's comment.
I know. I know
Kylie,
that you
quit screwing
skipped
me
it.
up on this.
Come on, Kylie.
I mean, the pretzel,
Kylie.
your eyes go to the pretzel.
I
You know, yeah.
I know. Yeah.
See what happens when you carb load?
Yeah. I was going to ask if you've been to the Al Ringling Brewery, because I think that just opened,
Ringling
or
Brewery?
they were renovating the building. They are located in like the Ringling Mansion, downtown Baraboo. It's right next to my barber. So I saw
You
that.
go to Baraboo to get your haircut?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth it.
That's so specific.
Shout out to
Is that why
Baraboo
it's so-
Social Club.
Is that why it's so windblown right now? Because
Yeah.
you did the drive back.
Jimmy
in the
works hard
convertible?
on it.
All right,
Jimmy
nice.
works hard. Well, I was going to say, Tara, you just taught me a couple of weeks ago. I was up in Baraboo that the Ringling Brothers house now is like a B&B.
Yeah, I don't know if it's their actual house or something they were affiliated with. They turned into an Airbnb.
It's like yellow. They have like sculptures of elephants in the front lawn.
It's just outside.
It's like an old Victorian home. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a block or two off the courthouse square, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was beautiful.
Yeah. We went furniture shopping for my mom, and I happened to pass it, and I sent that to you.
Yes, you did. Yeah. That and like the circus museum. I think
Yep.
that's a really cool, like little bit of Baraboo. I feel like we
I
haven't
love
covered.
Baraboo.
Oh, there's
Baraboo's-
circus. Yeah, it's
well,
beautiful.
And they have Devil's Lake there, and there's just a lot
They
of
have a cool little
things.
zoo. Exeter
Yeah.
Park Zoo. Mm-hmm. It's a cool zoo for a city of what, 10,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have a distillery there.
Yep.
The one you wanted to mention, I'm assuming.
Yes, it's so good. Have you been?
Yes.
Yes.
5-6 times.
Susan,
week?
have you been there?
Just this week. No, I
No?
haven't. No.
We'll go check it out later.
Yeah. Wait, have you
Should we
described
mention
it?
what it is?
Tell us about it. Yeah.
Well, it's a cool little, they have food restaurant. I've only drank there, so I can't speak on
We
their
haven't
food.
mentioned their name yet.
Isn't it Driftless Distilling?
It's Driftless Glen.
The Driftless Glen.
there we go.
Excuse me.
There it is.
Excuse me, but I don't know. The drinks were great. I love old fashions, so that was right up my alley.
Yeah.
They have a stellar old fashioned, and really everything they make is very impressive. I got to check out some of the equipment on a little tour,
Oh, did you?
and it's because everything's distilled right there. And then they have that patio that backs up to the Baraboo River.
Yes, that's where I sat. It's nice in the summer just to relax. Back
It's a little
there.
cold in the winter out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, and their food's really good too. So
Yeah. But something else that we just were mentioning in Baraboo that I know is a favorite spot, which so iconic, Devil's Lake.
Love Devil's Lake.
Who doesn't love Devil's Lake?
you swear you're in Colorado when you're at Devil's Lake
Yes.
State Park,
Yep.
or Utah
Yeah.
with some of the way the rock formations are. It's crazy.
And those hikes are challenging. I think it's if the South Shore, you're climbing stairs that
For
go
sure.
straight up.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get up here.
And you know what? I'd be remiss if I didn't mention actually one of my favorite craft breweries in the Driftless area, but it is in Baraboo, which is on the edge of the Driftless, and that's Tumbled Rock.
Oh.
Yes,
Have you checked that out?
I have been there.
That is a cool place.
Yeah, they have don't they have almost 2 buildings, and then in
They do.
the middle they have yard games. I've only been there once, but it seemed like someplace I want to go back and check out.
Yeah, they have a huge kind of bar restaurant on one side, and then the actual brewery and a little bar is on the other side. And in between, it's like a 2 or 3 levels of dining, and there's a grassy area. They've had live music out there. Kids will run around and play on there. There's a fire pit or two. And it's just, once you're there, you don't want to leave.
Yeah.
You just want to hang there forever. And their beers are really good too. I mean, they're legit in every category, and they're right on 136, right before the entrance to Devil's Lake State Park. So it's also on County Highway DL, which stands for Devil's Lake. So
Not down low.
and it's
Okay.
maybe
I
a
went-
mile from the
I was
Barrels Rock
thinking where
Winery.
you were, yeah.
On the down low, yeah. You could do that too.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, this is becoming another alcohol podcast.
I know we need to not. Let's talk more about outdoor activities. That's
Sorry,
That's our
guys.
other favorite spot aside from drinking. So, obviously, we talked about Devil's Lake and the Wisconsin River. What are some other things people can do for a little more outdoorsy, a little more adventurous?
Yeah, so one of my favorite places growing up is Lake Redstone, and that's in the little town of Laval. So if you go up through Ithaca, which is where I went to high school, all the way up through Cazenovia, you'll hit Laval. And it's just this tiny town, but Lake Redstone is beautiful. And I would go fishing up there. So if you like to fish, take your boat up there. There's also, it's it's a dam, but it looks like a waterfall that you can swim at the bottom of it. So that's kind of cool. So that's my favorite outdoor place. But you can also, if you like to bike, the Elroy Sparta bike trail, you start in Sparta, I believe. You can rent bikes there.
Yep.
And it's 26 miles and you can just bike. So that's also pretty neat. And I know that Sparta's known for biking, correct?
It's the bicycling capital of America.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to make a false claim.
I mean, we just
We've
had
never
to read
done
that.
that on this podcast.
Yeah, we also just read that on our last recording, so that's fresh in his mind.
Got it. Also, so the Pine River goes through Richland Center in particular, which is my hometown. And you can rent kayaks or tube down the Pine River. And I know that's an activity a lot of tourists have been coming into Richland Center for, especially the last year with COVID. They want to be outside, and so you can rent. I believe the company's called Pine River Paddle and Tube, and you can rent from them and just jump on the river.
Beautiful. Yeah, Richland Center is kind of the heart of the Driftless,
I
isn't
like
it?
to think that, but
You can't seem biased, we get it.
but yeah, I
But
mean,
now Eric said it, so.
yes, it's confirmed.
Oh, perfect. Dave, do you have any? I feel like you had a lot of different like mountain ranges and camping spots on here.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about fishing in a previous episode, the rivers episode.
Go with the flow?
Yep, that's the one. So check that out. There's, like I said on that episode, there's tons of trout streams that are great for fishing. I wanted to talk more about camping spots. I already mentioned Yellowstone Lake, which is kind of our go-to. Obviously, Wyalusing is the other huge name in camping in the Driftless.
Stunning.
You get how high are those cliffs at the
I
ledge
think they're
there?
400 or 500 feet above average terrain.
You look down and you see the confluence of the Wisconsin and Mississippi River. It is so stunning. Definitely difficult to get reservations, so plan far, far ahead.
A lot of great trails to hike on, though, and
yeah.
everything, and so many scenic overlooks. And I mean, some cases when you're going up and down stairs, you're like going through rock cuts.
Yeah.
And they actually have a really cool tribute to the passenger pigeon. In
didn't
one
see that.
area, there's a couple of Native American burial mounds.
Oh, yeah.
And they're kind of right on the edge of the river, up high. And then there's a monument to the passenger pigeon and its extinction.
Wow.
That's really, I mean, you're going to read that whole thing and just sit there a while and marvel.
I'll have to look for that
Very
one
cool. All in Wyalusing.
this coming season. Yeah.
Nice.
And then for primitive camping, we're trying to do some more of this summer, try to do some of the walk-in sites, get our feet wet with kind of the backpacking idea.
Not going to do the air-conditioned RV with the satellite uplink
No,
TVs? Okay.
no.
Fine.
But I want to head to the Kickapoo Valley Reserve because they have like 25 campsites that are primitive camping only. So you have to walk like 100 feet or so from the parking lot. If you are on the other side of camping preference and you want a little more luxury, the Nature Nooks Retreat in Viroqua has 3 cabin properties that you can rent, and they're right on the west fork of the Kickapoo River. So that's something I might want to check out for fly fishing at some point.
Viroqua is a gorgeous town.
Yes, it is.
Wildcat Mountain on the Kickapoo River. I don't know that I added that to this list, so whoever did, thank you for that note.
Might have also been Kylie.
And it looks like Kylie also suggests Governor Dodge State Park.
Absolutely.
Another big one. I haven't
They do
been
have a nice
camping there yet.
waterfall there at Governor Dodge.
Yeah.
And it's huge. I mean, the trail system's very extensive and it's nice. But Wildcat Mountain, which is just east of Ontario along 33, and the Kickapoo River, you can see it down below. And the expansive views you get and the surrounding hills, there's one overlook, and Travel Wisconsin has one of those selfie stations there. It's one of the places that they mark as a place to go in the state.
Get a selfie, apparently.
The view you get is really, really, that's another one where you're swearing you're in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
So
I love
Check
it.
that out.
You guys, do you know what's really important, I think, when you're fishing, when you're canoeing, when you're camping? What do you need, especially in these hot Wisconsin summer months?
Water.
water is one thing.
Yes, water is one thing.
I know what another thing is, though.
What's
and
another
Part
thing,
of it's
Eric?
because of a song that was popular that told you to wear sunscreen. It was a graduation ceremony speech that they sang in a song that I played on the radio. It was about 20 years ago.
I
But
definitely
sunscreen,
don't know what that song is.
it's by Baz Luhrmann.
I do remember this.
Everybody's free to wear sunscreen.
Oh.
Check it out. It's a spoken graduation speech, award-winning speech to a beat.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very cool. So
How long is it?
it's about 3-4 minute song. So, but
Nice.
that just leads to a good reminder, courtesy of Group Health Trust, to make sure you got sunscreen on. And Tara, you think that's important, right?
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to be burnt.
It's in your line of work for crying out
Yeah,
loud.
I know.
Yeah.
So when you're going out on those weekends on the lake or wherever, make sure you bring extra beer. Make sure you bring extra cheese curds. But make sure you bring sunscreen with a good SPF factor. That stands for sun protection factor. So SPF factor is redundant. But, and don't forget the sun's rays, they permeate the clouds. On a cloudy day, you're still getting potential sunburn. Even your windows, that can happen. So you may not always see the sun, but the sun always sees us. So make sure. I'll just use the final line of that song. But trust me on the sunscreen. All right.
Beautiful.
Back to the Driftless.
All right, let's start kind of bringing this home a little bit. Let's do some fun attractions in the Driftless. Tara?
So one thing I think is really fun to do, especially again in the fall, Driftless is prime for fall, is the apple orchards. Even like Gaze Mills has an apple fest,
Yes.
I believe that's what it's called,
Yep.
and they have parades, and it's a big deal. But they have 3 big ones there: Sunrise, Hillcrest, and Kickapoo Orchard. And then a Richland Center, which if you're close to Madison, it's a short, 50-minute drive somewhere in there to Oakwood
Yeah.
Fruit Farm. And that one's it's up on a hill. It's beautiful, and you can buy gifts there. You can get apples. They have these apple donuts, though.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing,
Oh.
especially if you get them right out of the oven. So I highly recommend the orchards up there.
Nice.
Those are beautiful. There's also a lot of, again, I know you mentioned this before, Frank Lloyd Wright stuff. There's a warehouse downtown Richland Center that it's a
Heard about
historic,
this,
it's on a
yeah.
historic landmark. It was actually built for my great uncle. So that's my little family tie to that warehouse, but they're redoing it and they're going to make it like an event space and a wedding venue and have some cool shops and different things in there. So I'm excited to see their plans for that in the future.
And downtown Richland Center's got a lot of cool buildings and architecture.
Yeah. I feel like the town's coming back to life a little bit. So
Looks
I'm
like it.
Yeah, I'm excited. And then there's also, I've never been here. I heard it's amazing though. It's called Driftless Music Gardens, and this is a drive-in amphitheater. And they
Middle
have-
of nowhere.
Yeah. Yep.
But they draw some cool acts.
Yeah, it's a lot of bluegrass and country music from what I've heard. So that's something I really want to check out.
Very cool.
I will add to the apple orchards.
Yeah.
Right by El Morro Vineyards and Winery.
Yes.
In Trempalou, right along the Great River Road, is the Apple Farm. That's, I believe, its full name. It's sweet and simple, but they nestle right up against the bluff, too.
Yeah, it's a little red building, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right there. Yes, I've been there.
They have a little beer tent area where they serve local beers and bands play. And then, of course, there's plenty of orchards where you can pick apples. And you do that combo, El Morro and the Apple Farm.
Oh, yeah. That's a
Beautiful
great day.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then also in the winter, just one note, there is a new company called Ridge and Valley Tours, and they will take you out snowshoeing on snowshoeing tours. And they did this kind of fun thing. I don't know if anybody does it, but they were like doing yoga in the snow with their snowshoes and like mats.
Wow.
It looked really neat.
So Wisconsin, I love it.
Something to check out, and that's again out of Richland Center as well. But they do.
How do you do
also,
like Happy Baby with snowshoes?
I have no idea, but the pictures look interesting, and I would be willing to do it. But they also do beer and wine tours. I know they go up to Hillsboro and do that
nice.
as well. So if you want a tour that's guided, I would highly recommend that.
Move
Awesome.
over, goat yoga. We've got
Yeah.
snowshoe yoga.
Right?
How about goats with snowshoes on doing yoga?
That would
There
be.
we go.
That's just like a
Nah.
movie at that point. Oh my goodness. So the other one again, per our friend upstairs, Kylie, who we should give her a proper shout out. So it's Kylie Combs. She works more in the Into the Outdoors brand here for Discover Media Works. And she reminded us on this list that we did not have Cave of the Mounds.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
because every sign in the state reminds you Cave of the Mounds has an ad budget of epic proportions.
Yeah.
But it is very cool to see. It's right outside Blue Mounds. It's right by the Botham Vineyards and Winery. Now you got me all worried about that. Not far from the Grumpy Troll. And Cave of the Mounds, it's a bunch of natural caves underground with just They have great tours and a lot of other. They have like a couple of birding areas and a couple of gardens, and it's beautiful.
They
just
do
to check it
like
out.
wine nights in the cave, right, with
Yep.
music and everything. I really wanted to check that out last year, but certain pandemic kind of got in the way of that.
Yeah,
so.
that,
Oh, that
This
small
summer.
thing? That small detail?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Stuff's
That
all
little blip.
reopened now, and it's interesting because the caves, the deeper caves, are the temperature of the average temperature of the air all year round when you go underground like that. So be prepared for about 50 degrees when
Yeah.
you go down there anytime. So it's either a nice warm up or a chilly cool down, depending on the time of year.
Interesting. And then I guess to bring this episode home, so where the actual idea for this podcast episode came from was you were showing me pictures of these Candlewood Cabins that I thought looked so
Ooh, yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are actually right outside of Richland Center and Highway 80. And it's funny because I know the people who own these and I didn't know that's what they did. I work in medical offices and I was in an office and this nurse was telling me, she's like, yeah, you're from Richland Center. I've wanted to get a reservation at this Candlewood Cabins for like 2 years, but they're booked up. I don't know if it's 2 years, but it was a long time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never heard of this place. So she pulls it up and starts showing me these photos, and they're gorgeous. So they're these cabins, and if you want to get away in the middle of the country just to relax, but they have. Some of them are like completely glass on all sides, so you're like in a glass cabin. I think another one is like a barn that they just redid for like larger families, but they have different types of cabins up there, and they're just really neatly designed.
Instagrammable.
Yes, very Instagrammable, but just they're beautiful. So if you can get a reservation, plan ahead. But that's where I would recommend. Also, if you're looking for more of like a hotel in La Crosse area, the Charmant is beautiful. I'm lucky enough to stay there for work sometimes, and I love it. I just want to move in there. So
Yeah, it's hard to check out. You don't want to go. It's in an old candy factory.
yes, and they give you
Ooh.
chocolates when you check in.
Yep.
So
Restaurant and bar in there. The rooms are cool. Everything's unique
Yep.
and boutique-y.
yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've always heard a lot of things about that hotel. I've always wanted to check that out in La Crosse. Yeah, but also an all-glass cabin.
Oh
sounds
yes,
fun.
yes.
Maybe if we can get a reservation, we should do an episode of The Cabin from that cabin.
Should we start doing live broadcasts
Yep.
from different cabins?
We can do that.
I'm down.
Oh my gosh, what's the last one on here too? In Viroqua.
Oh, yeah, I kind of stole that one
Yeah,
before.
he stole
sorry.
that one. But
sorry.
there's also the Westby House in Westby, which is right next to Viroqua.
Oh, okay.
And that is like looks like a Victorian type of home that they do like different things, and there's a restaurant in there as well. So
lots of places to stay in the Driftless.
cool,
That's
different places to stay.
I love it. I think we've made quite the weekend itinerary for all seasons in this episode. What do you
Lots to
think,
do.
guys?
And there's even more we can talk about, but I think in the interest of time, we have to do a part 2.
Yes.
Might have to bring you back.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, Tara, thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us
for
today,
having me.
sharing
Tara.
your Richland Center history with us.
Thanks, Tara. That was pretty cool.
That was super cool.
Some insider info. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. I am very excited to tell you guys about Jazz Fest. Have you
this
heard
is-
about this?
Not in the Driftless region, is it?
No, this is in Oshkosh. Our friends at Visit Oshkosh wanted us to talk about Oshkosh Jazz Fest. Oshkosh is known as the Event City, and this is a first-time concert for them, free and live music in downtown Oshkosh. It is on August 28th, and headliners include Joey DeFrancesco, Haley Reinhardt, Landau Eugene Murphy Jr., Water City Jazz Orchestra, and more. Head to OshkoshJazz.com for more info and make sure to save that date. I know I will.
That's very cool. Yeah, downtown Oshkosh has a lot of cool stuff. They got that opera house.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a college town, as you know, Susan. Lots of activity going on.
Lots of activities.
It's
I was going to
fun.
say, I looked at all those headliner names and I was like, I'm going to let Dave read these names.
Landau Eugene
like
Murphy Jr.
Joey DeFrancesco. What is that? Francisco. That's a fun name.
Francesco.
It's Francesco. Yeah.
Anyway, let's take it home.
All right. All right. The review of the week is a really sweet one from Kilwassee. I think is how
Clissoe?
No.
Cliso?
Cliso? All right. Well,
Klisowe.
One of those is
We tried.
definitely it.
one of them, or maybe none of them. I don't know. It was on Apple Podcasts, and it was titled "They Get It." You know what? We do. We really try.
Except how to pronounce your
Yeah,
screen name.
we don't get everything.
We get it, except for pronunciation.
We mostly get it.
I'm a new listener, and I was looking for something different. Found there's a great number of Wisconsin knowledge and pride shared on the show, which I really appreciate. These guys get what Wisconsin is all about, including the phrase, you guys. Use guys.
Use guys.
Thank you, Cliso.
Thank you.
Clissoe?
No name. Yeah. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right. Now, next week, it's going to be an exciting episode and a very different one for us.
I'm so excited.
It's a fan-hosted episode or fan co-hosted episode, right?
Do I
Yeah.
get the day off then?
So,
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
We still need your audio wisdom here, Dave.
absolutely. Don't go off to Blanchardville or anything and leave us high and
but I
dry.
wanna.
So we asked our social followers and cabin fans for you to be our next guest host. And next week, you're going to find out who's going to be sitting down at the mic with us, what topic they chose to share with us. They're really driving everything, right?
Oh, it's going to
topic
be
too? Wow.
super exciting.
So it should be a blast. Come back next week. See what we've got in store.
Today's episode of The Cabin was hosted by Eric Paulson, Dave Janis, and me, Susan Foch, with guest host of Tara Pizer. Produced by me and Audio Dave, with video editing by Cooper Steele and social media by me and Courtney Haas. The Cabin is a production brought to you by Discover Media Works. To learn more, head to discovermediaworks.com, and don't forget to leave us a review.